I'm Elizabeth Ruiz on the scene with 15 on Catholic Television of San Antonio, and we are at the Missionaries of the Holy Family House of Formation in Castle Hills with a very special guest all the way from St. Louis. He is the Provincial Superior of the Missionaries of the Holy Family, which means he's the top dog, I guess you could say. Father Philip Sosa, thank you so much for coming all the way from St. Louis to be with us today.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
Now, you're no stranger to San Antonio or to Texas because you're originally from?
Harlingen is my hometown, and I have family down in Harlingen in the valley. So I have reason to come down more often, to the valley. We do have a parish down there, but then other parishes here in Corpus, San Antonio, So.
The San Antonio area. You have some in New Braunfels, right?
Correct.
Where?
Yes.
Which ones are those in New Braunfels?
It's in New Braunfels, two parishes. It's Holy Family Parish, and then Our Lady of Perpetual Help in New Braunfels, and then Our Lady of Guadalupe in Seguin.
Okay. And so how did somebody from Harlingen end up in St. Louis? You weren't used to the snow when you got up there, I'm sure.
No, I wasn't, One of the pastor of the parish that I belonged to was a missionary of the Holy Family. And this is how I ended up going to St. Louis to the seminary when I was only 17, a long time ago.
Wow, 17. And you told me that you're getting ready to celebrate your 45th anniversary of the priesthood?
As a priest.
As a
yes.
priest?
Yes. Next year, this coming June 1st.
Oh, you look so young. You're going to have to share your tips with us.
Yeah, I got a quote.
How to stay looking so young. And I know it's probably because you're very busy going back and forth from St. Louis to San Antonio, and I guess to the other parishes. Is that right?
Well, usually I try to keep in contact with my priests and brothers, and so I visit them, see how they're doing to support them, and to know how they're doing, because they're the ones that elected me to this position as a superior to oversee that we ourselves are living up to what we're supposed to do. Our ministry to the families, our ministry to vocations, and also our ministry to the people that are distant from God.
And my goodness, the message of the Holy Family today is important, so important more than ever, because of the messages that our young people are getting. And, there are more divorces now, or people are choosing to live together instead of getting married and building a family. And then from the celebrities in Hollywood, we get these messages of just, you don't need to have a daddy, these celebrities are going and having children, without being married. And
yeah, but this is very true. I think the family is the nucleus for our society. And then once we're beginning to lose the value of the family, it's almost like the beginning of the end. But I think God only knows when the end is going to be. We still have to consider, that the family is very important, and we realize that we are very important, to try to instill, in the parishes that we work, the value of family life. And also being that our Holy Father emphasized, not too long ago, about the real importance of family life, to try to pray together, to do things together as a family. And one of the many things that we can do together as a family, be religious or even as a family unit, is to pray together. We've often heard that axiom, a family that prays together, or says prays the rosary, stays together. Yes. Prayer is the most powerful thing in our possession now, and it is never too late to start praying.
And sometimes when you say that, people say, oh, that's so cliche, but to really do it would help strengthen the family so much, especially, everybody gets so busy, and in the morning they're rushing, and somebody's got to drive somebody to school, and then after school they've got these activities, and then you get home, and a lot of families don't even, get to sit together and have dinner together like they used to. But
this is very true. You're right. We're living a jet age time period, that everybody's rushing from one thing to the other, never doing things together as a family, sometimes not even vacation times, when there's a time, but I think, the family is very, and you can only, I think the two people that are most important in the family is the head of the family, the man and the spouses, the husband and the wife, or the father and the mother, or the bride and the groom.
Right.
You know.
And to how beautiful it is to actually take time in the morning, you know, just to say a prayer before you start your day, or in the evening to get together and everybody have, you know, a prayer.
This is very true, you know, because in the beginning of the day, just to being able to thank God for able to see the light of a new day in our lives. You know, every day is a new beginning, and as a family, you know, what greater joy can there be that the two have been given the opportunity, you know, to continue on and witness the love of God, because the husband and the wife are each other's ticket to heaven. And how you relate to each other is going to be reflected in the children. I still remember Father Clemente, who was the pastor of our Assumption Parish, where I belong to in Harlingen, and he used to say, there's a Spanish expression, así como es Juan, así es Juanito. And so the example of parents, you know, is very important.
That's
you know,
right.
So parents, you know, they're disappointed in their children. It only reflects as to what they have done in preparing their children today.
That's right. And a lot of times it's easy for parents to forget that they observe. I mean, from the time that they are just, you know, before they even walk, they are observing you and mimicking your every move. So it's so important, such a responsibility to set a good example as parents for them. And they have done surveys. There have been surveys where, you know, you think, well, the kids, who do they look up to? Who are the real role models? Who do they try to emulate? And you think, oh, it's this, you know, sports star, or is this celebrity or whatever. But really, when it comes down to it, the surveys have shown that it's the parents who are the real role models.
Not too long ago, one of the friends of mine from Donna, they had their granddaughter with them. And as they're coming into church, you know, they always go into the holy water and then use the holy water and bless yourself. The little girl started doing the same thing, and even though she didn't know the significance, she went back and forth over and over again, put a hand in the holy water and bless herself, and then she'd go back and then come again. And I said, you know, what better way, even if she doesn't know what is going, don't get after her. Hey, that's a good way of beginning.
That's right,
you know?
Exactly.
Because they do
That's
gimmick
beautiful.
what we do as adults, you
yes,
know? And it's very true.
And when you're talking about the family praying together, then that is why your prayer book is so important. And this is something that has been a tradition for us, for you, right? The missionaries of the Holy Family.
Correct. We used to have our own, and some of our priests would make those prayers, and then the prayer the traditional prayers are in there, but then other prayers that are very important, like the morning offering, the consecration, you know, to the Holy Family, the prayer to the Holy Family prayer, and the other traditional prayers are very much a part of the prayers that are in the present book that we've published now. And they have always been a part of our parish life. You know, we had them available because people would ask how, you know, to pray, and even the rosaries. One of the other things that we've also done with the rosary is usually had a meditation or a reflection on the mystery of the rosary. What we've done on this one is to make a reflection that touches the family life. And whether it's like even the mystery of the Annunciation of a family welcoming their first child, you know, welcoming of a child into the family.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so there's so in the prayer for every mystery, there is a reflection that affects every aspect of our family life, you know. So we try to make it appropriate. So it's
this is the book. Now it's in English and Spanish.
Yes,
right?
it's been translated. It's kind of a purse-like.
Yes.
It's easy. The one that we used to print ourselves before, it was very narrow, and you could always it fit in your pocket. Right. This one it probably fit in a coat pocket or a purse, but still is very handy.
Yes.
And
now, did you do it this way because it's bigger print, or what was the reason for expanding the book, the size of the book?
That was the publisher's idea.
And let me ask you that too. Why did you decide to go with a publisher? Because before you had these little prayer books, and you would have them available there at the church, but now you've gone big time.
Yeah.
You
well, the thing is, one of the reasons is, you know, because we don't have all the parishes in the United States. And so one of the ideas, and families are all over the United States, So I think for us, we felt, that it was the idea somebody presented to publishing it. So the first publisher that we approached was Liguori. They publish a lot of books, and they are all over the country. And then families are all over, so we try to make it available for families throughout the United States, Spanish and in English. And they can be accessible in a Catholic bookstore or a secular bookstore. Also, either you can get on the internet, buy it through internet, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles also has it, Liguori.com. They also have you can order them through the internet.
So you're just trying to, I guess
it's right to reach every family throughout the country.
You can, and now with the internet especially, you can reach so many more people.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons, and I think we try to make it available to everybody, not just only in our parishes or the dioceses that we work, but also, throughout the country, throughout the United States. We try to make also contact with all the parishes, not just that are under the auspices or the title of Holy Family. We've tried also to invite them to see that this is very important. So it might be other, there's about 200 parishes throughout the United States that have the title, Holy Family parishes.
Right.
And so we've also tried to encourage and letting them know that this is available, for them, So.
And how much is it?
It's $8.95. I think that's what the publisher tells us. I'm not too
right.
sure. I think
Okay.
they say $8.95. I think that then
right.
you can get it.
All right, $8.95, and then I guess proceeds go to the missionaries of the Holy Family.
Well, I guess the
Partial
royalties.
proceeds?
Yeah, part
Yes.
of the publisher said we get royalties from the sale of the book. So
Sure.
it's another way of helping support ourselves, also in the education of our seminarians, that are in the House of Formation here, and also in helping us take care of our elderly members, which are the older priests and brothers. So we have a responsibility to take care of our, those that are educating themselves or preparing for the priesthood or brotherhood, and also taking care of our older members who are no longer in ministering, but are in nursing homes.
That's so important,
So
because
as a family,
we can never. That's right.
as a family, we are a family. It's a religious family, so we have to take care of our old elders,
of course,
as well as our young guys.
Oh, God bless you for that. And we're going to come back in just a moment, and we're going to talk more about the mission of the missionaries of the Holy Family. So stay with us. This is On the Scene with 15 on Catholic Television of San Antonio.
St. Gregory the Great Catholic school students filled the St. Gregory the Great bus, decorated as a Horn of Plenty, on November 9th with about 2,000 items to be donated to the St. Vincent de Paul Society. As we approached Thanksgiving, the students were challenged to bring in over 1,000 items to share with those less fortunate. It was a festive event with the bus in the middle of campus, balloons lining the way, and students eager to see Principal Martha Gomez and Vice Principal Jennifer Marge dress as pilgrims if the 1,000 item challenge was met. That goal was easily surpassed as students bought in 1,800 items. The students participate in a food drive each month that benefits their food pantry at the church. Living this community life of service has been very rewarding for the students and families. St. Gregory the Great Catholic School was established by the Sisters of Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary in 1955. Centrally located in the Balcones Heights neighborhood of San Antonio, St. Gregory's provides a quality Catholic education to 620 students in grades pre-kindergarten 3 through the 8th grade. St. Gregory's is fully accredited by the Texas Catholic Conference.
My family left the church because of a very negative experience with a specific priest, and that took my whole family away from going to church for a long period of time. There were other Catholic churches, and there were great Catholic churches and great priests, but we stopped because of that one specific instance. And in a way, I was cheated out a big part of my journey in my life because we weren't in the church. In life, it seems like we're always enslaved to something. And I think that's basically what our culture is all about right now, is we are enslaved to power or to greed or or to wealth or to lust, but there's a true freedom to not be enslaved, but to attach ourselves to God and to be free. My involvement in the church, my relationship with God is who I am. It's what gives me my identity. Thank God I'm home.
If you feel something's missing in your life, order your free copy of the book Rediscovering Catholicism by visiting CatholicsComeHome.org today.
Welcome back to On the Scene with 15 on Catholic Television of San Antonio, and we are at the House of Formation for the Missionaries of the Holy Family, and it's in Castle Hills with our very special guest all the way from St. Louis, Father Philip Sosa, who is a provincial superior. Thank you so much for coming down again. And now, how does a Texan from Harlingen down in the valley, citrus country, actually, and, adjust to the snow in St. Louis? Was that a big adjustment for you?
Yes, it was. I had never seen snow until I went to St. Louis in 1959.
Oh,
and
my
so I was only 17 years, and at that time I wasn't too sure whether the priesthood was for me or not. And the priest at my parish, Our Lady of Assumption in Harlingen, was a missionary of the Holy Family. And it is through him, Father Clemente and Father Zemella, that I went to St. Louis. I remember I took the train from Harlingen, Missouri Pacific, and I went through Harlingen, then to Houston, and from Houston, I went to St. Louis, a 24-hour ride in the train.
Wow.
I had never, the first time I left home, I had never been away from home, and I thought I was going to be afraid. And I remember when I left and my parents told me, when you get there, call us. Well, I left at 7:30 from Harlingen and arrived in St. Louis. At that time, it was 7:30, 8:30 in St. Louis time. Father Joseph Matthey was the rector, and he was the one that met me at the train station. I had never met him, but he had a picture of me. When I went to St. Louis in the train, there was a Union Station, 40 tracks. I mean, and
my gosh.
It was a big impression on me. Anyway, I get to St. Louis, then Father Matthey picked me up, go to the seminary, and then I felt so comfortable, like that's where I belonged, that I completely forgot to call home.
Uh-oh.
Later in the evening, Father Matthey tells me, Phil, you have a phone call. And then I say, well, who knows that I'm here? And then I completely remember, I forgot to call home. And my mother, typical mom, and that they wondered if I got to where I was supposed to be, and I did.
Oh.
And so, but that winter was the first time I saw snow, and I've been seeing snow ever since.
Yes. Do you go skiing?
No, I learned my lesson as a hospital chaplain. I saw too many broken bones, and so I said, skiing is not for me.
No. Well, welcome back to Texas, and we're having beautiful weather right now. And I'm going to tell our viewers that if you drove through Castle Hills, you would never know that there was a House of Formation here. I mean, it just looks like any other home. So tell us, what is a House of Formation? What goes on here? What do you do?
The House of Formation is mainly like the seminary. The seminary is a preparation place, for candidates that are preparing for the priesthood. For us, as a House of Formation, it's similar. It's not as big as a seminary complex with many buildings and teaching staff within it, a certain number. But for us, it's a residence for those candidates that are studying to be a brother in our community or want to be a priest in our community. This is their first experience of what it is like to be a missionary of the Holy Family. Here, the director has the responsibility of preparing these young men, to really make a commitment to what they really want to, and to help them discern whether they do have a vocation, with us, or a vocation maybe that might continue, maybe it's not with us, or continue on with another community, or maybe it isn't for them. And then they go through, if they need college, they'll attend the colleges in the area, or they're in need of theology. We usually go down the street to the Able School of Theology, which is one of the theologians that has been very much a part of our education program for the candidates for the priesthood.
And right now we are in a room where you
This is the
have
chapel.
Mass, you celebrate
Yeah.
Mass.
This is
right?
our chapel. This is a Mass is said every day. It's part of our daily life to attend Mass every day. So the candidates are obligated, to be part of the community and to share in every event of the day, and to attend also Mass. Is how we begin the day.
And the missionaries of the Holy Family is international. So where do the men who come here to become brothers or priests, where do they go?
We are an international community. We have 15 provinces throughout the world. And the first province was in Holland. Our founder was a La Salette priest in 1895 when he founded our community. And the purpose of the community was for belated vocations, because he was a retreat master, and in his encounters he met a lot of young men.
But
At
he
that
was
time,
French, right?
He was a Frenchman, but then he ended up going to Holland because of the anti-clericalism that existed at that particular time. And when he went to Holland, bought a military barracks, and all the candidates for the priesthood that wanted to be a part of the mission of the Holy Family, or came from all the other countries in Europe. He had quite a mixture of Dutch, German, French, and Swiss, the others. And but it was quite a concoction of persons,
Right.
But he had his, the history, by 1910, he already had priests in the congregation. And from there, he used the scripture that the harvest was ready, but the laborers were few. And this is what encouraged him to continue to try to find missionaries. So our province continued, started from Holland, and they went to South America. So we have 5 provinces in South America, 3 Brazilian, Chile, and Argentina. Then in Europe, we had the Spanish, German, Polish, Swiss, and the French. And then also in Indonesia, we have the Java and Kalimantan, and then also in Madagascar. So, and then our American province. So there's 15 provinces throughout there. And so our American province was founded, came from Germany. Our German province was stronger. They sent the first priests that came to the United States were from the German province. They went to Minnesota, and there's a marker, 1925, because that was Minnesota used to be our novitiate. Talking about snow, when I went to St. Louis, 2 years later, I ended up going to Minnesota for my novitiate year, which is like a religious boot camp.
Wow.
And so it was an experience going from the tip of Texas all the way to Minnesota.
My goodness.
But anyway, then the priests, when they were in Minnesota, then they were invited to come to Texas, and they started working with the Spanish-speaking communities. So we've been down here in Texas working with the priests for a long time, back even in the 30s. We used to have some parishes in perpetuum, but that status is no longer part of the church anymore, because we had 3 parishes that were in perpetuum. Was Our Lady of Perpetual Help in the Brownfields.
Or is that the one in Selma?
No, that's not.
No,
Selma's
not that
ours.
one.
No,
it's the one in New Braunfels.
in the Brownfields.
Okay.
And then we had also in Beeville, Lady of Victory, and in Corpus Christi, Sacred Heart. Then we had to go through a process that, in case we had to give back the diocese, because once in those days, when you had a parish in perpetuum, that was forever. We were obligated, but then some of the bishops wanted those parishes back. So we had to change the status. Not that we wanted to give it back, but the bishops were interested in wanting some of those parishes because they had been, and this is one of our missions, to lift a parish from being nothing. Once it is self-sufficient and its growth, and then we're supposed to either return it back to the diocese so the diocese can take care of it, and if we go where nobody else wants to go.
My goodness. Well, God bless you for that mission. And missionaries of the Holy Family. How many members would you have?
Yeah.
How many people
Here
do
in
you
our
have?
province, we're down to 25.
Oh
But
my
we're still,
gosh.
when it used to be almost 100. But through death, some of the older members, and then vocations, where all of a sudden we went into some stages, with not too many vocations and too many distractions today, I guess, for young
Right.
people to give up, so they
Well,
don't
we
want
talk about this all the
Right,
time,
yeah.
how difficult it is to get young men into the priesthood. But only 25 here in the United States, is
Yes.
that right? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
But we're still doing our work. We're still supporting each other. We're still working at it, and God has been good.
Right. Yes,
and-
yes. And let's talk about the prayer book once more, if we could, and
Yeah.
remind people about...
Yeah, the prayer book, one of the things we find is to try to make it very convenient, short, and also touching to be appropriate for the family, so they can pray together. They can recite the prayers in Spanish or in English. Probably be in English. A lot of the kids today, they only know English, But there's a consecration to the Holy Family. It starts with a consecration of the Holy Family. Then there's a prayer for the Holy Family, which can be said every day. And it's very ideal, for the needs of the family, and asking God's blessing on our families. And
Yes.
even if you can pray together, even just for an individual to pray for their own family,
Yes.
is ideal.
Yes, indeed.
And then it's got the litany for the Holy Family.
Yes, and this is great for a lot of grandmas and
Yes.
grandpas out there, that
Yeah.
they can get this little book and say
Yeah.
prayers for the family every day,
Yes.
every day.
And it's the traditional prayers are also in there, plus other prayers that are kind of apropos to making us aware of the worldwide awareness, like even San Josefina Bakati from Sudan, and also
my
the
goodness.
patroness, she suffered a lot. There's also others saying a lot of them know San Martin de Porres, the patron of the
Yes.
poor,
Yes.
and then also then Saint Teresa Lisieux with her little way of perfection,
Right.
little things that are very, and then of course the patron of the impossible, Saint Jude, is very much a part of
Yes.
our everyday, because people lose things and they think, there's causes that are not going to go according to our way, at least we feel are not.
Right.
And pray to Saint Jude, everybody's aware of that. And so then the American native new saint, Saint Kateri Tekakwitha, is a Native American who is
Yes.
also,
Interesting.
so
There's
it
even a prayer
tells
to
us,
him. Okay.
yeah, so
that's
it kind of
great.
tells us that we're all called to holiness. And the family also, there's a holiness in our families that sometimes I think, we can't be holy people, but that's where we learn about, trying to be good people, holy
Right.
people, and
Amen to that. And thank
yeah.
you so much for being with us. Father Philip Sosa, all the way
Thank
from
you.
St. Louis, with the Missionaries of the Holy Family. I'm Elizabeth Ruiz. Thank you so much for being with us on The Scene with 15 on Catholic Television of San Antonio, television that inspires.